What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Monday. We are rolling on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter/X, on Facebook, and on Twitch. It is episode 172 of the Throwdown, where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt. And tonight we are throwing down with a wrestler based out of my home state of Texas, the leader of the cult of pizza, or the pizza superhero, Kaius. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. It's been a really good day today, and like I said before we went on the air, I've been looking forward to this one. And before we get started, let me direct your attention to the ticker that's running on the bottom of the screen. That contains all, or at least most, of Kaius's social media accounts, along with mine. So do us a favor, if you aren't a follower or subscriber, please take the time and go to each of our platforms and do so. It definitely helps both of us. And for those of you that are watching this live, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and really the most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling for about 19 years. I started when I was 17. I am 37 now, so I guess that would be more like 20 years now. But yeah, I started when I was 17, so about 20 years I've been wrestling. Started in Waxahachie, Texas.
Nice, nice. So who actually trained you?
Yeah, so my trainer was Killer Tim Brooks in Waxahachie, Texas. I started with a lot of young guys, some that went really, really far. One of the guys that I trained with that was in one of the classes there was Keith Lee. I had mentioned this on the podcast with CCP podcast, but Killer trained all of us. He old school Texas training where half of it was beating you up, half of it was learning, but it was all fun. At least for him, it was always fun beating us up.
No doubt, no doubt. Man, you mentioned actually training with Keith Lee. That had to be to definitely be an experience, and it's been exciting to see him go as far as he has gone. I just hope he can put together a healthy string and get back in front of the camera.
No, yes, he's a very impressive man. I give him a lot of credit because I've always been a big guy. I'm a big guy now. I was a big guy. I was even bigger back then. I've been on a bit of a fitness journey to try to get a whole lot leaner, a whole lot better. But I was a really big, when I was 17, I was closer to 400 pounds. Right now, I'm more around 320. So it's not that far, but it's still a whole lot more poundage when I was 17. And when you're a big guy, when you're in Texas, big guys don't have to do a lot. And I didn't know how to like do a bump, do this, do that. Um, and what happened was Keith actually is the one that taught me how to take bumps because he's the one like, oh, you're a big guy. This is how you're going to turn. This is how you're going to learn to maneuver your body because you need to learn how to do this because what if one day you decide you're not going to be a big guy anymore? You're not going to know how to do this, and you need to learn how to do this now because it'll transition to when you're not. So I appreciate a lot of what Keith taught me in this business.
Gotcha. So, in terms of the early portions of your training, when you were bouncing around out in Waxahachie, getting beat up by Killer Brooks, What would you say was the most challenging part of the early portion of your training? What was the most difficult aspect of professional wrestling for you to wrap your mind and body around?
That one's a difficult one because the most challenging one for me was always character. Because the
Hmm.
physical aspect, again, when you're young, you can do everything.
Right.
As long as you're taught, you when you're young, you can do everything. But here in Texas, it's very different because or at least old school Texas wrestling, big guys, monsters, small guys, technicians. That's the story that you tell. So I never really learned how to tell a story with a character, and character work was always just on the back end, on the I was a shy guy. I'm still a pretty shy guy, but I was a shy kid, and it was always very hard to me getting on the mic, telling the story that I wanted to do. And I would do it in front of a mirror because I would take inspiration from people like The Rock and all these like really big names that would do interviews and say, "Oh, well, you got to do it in front of the mirror, see how you do it, and like see how you pronounce stuff, and just keep on working and working." And for me, I would try, but it was just not getting there. It was not like I was not accomplishing it. And I don't know, it just I mentioned to you kind of when we were off air that for me 2020 was the greatest time because I really had to there's no other option. I don't get to just go out there and work and wrestle and just do the craft. I had to learn how to do it um virtually, and I had to sell my
Hmm.
story virtually. So I just learned how to push myself as a character, as a character, as a character, and I ended up turning into the peaks of superhero, which I now the the worst part, the thing that I was most difficult in learning at the beginning of my career, which was character, now that's one of the biggest praises I get, and usually why people like book me, bring me onto their shows, take me on for any kind of like role in their promotion is because I do really good character work. And I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying that I can't get better, but my character work has gone 100% from when I first started, and I'm not really quite sure if it was just the more practice or if it was just that it was dire need that I needed to push the character, but for me it was always just that was the struggle. That was the struggle for me because I'm shy. I get in these interviews, I get in like front of people now and I can do them, but when I first started I'm like I am mean. Ah.
Yep, yep, yep. So, looking over at the Instagram chat, we've got a couple of people making their way in. We've got Man Mass Annihilation Now over in the Instagram chat. So, definitely welcome to him. And so I'm presuming because this has been the case with the majority of people that have come on the show, I'm presuming that you've been at least a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, no, I came out the womb a fan of wrestling. I think everyone in my family has been a fan of wrestling. I grew up with my dad. I again, most of us have really rocky relationships with our fathers. It's just a natural story. Everyone has a rocky relationship with their father. I had a rocky relationship with my father at one point, but the one thing that was always a constant between us was we're gonna watch the pay-per-view. We're gonna have like our like monthly just pig out hang out just food and watch. And I remember because I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it to you because I don't think you've heard it before. I used to be a big nerd that did not like sports. I'm not a big fan of sports still. I did
Hmm.
not like almost anything other than cartoons, Disney, and that was it. I could rewatch and watch the same Disney movies over and over again. Never get tired. My dad was having a panic attack because he couldn't he couldn't connect with me. He did not know what to do. One day he put on wrestling. It was old WCW, and I watched Diamond Dallas Page give a diamond cutter, and since then I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, that was so violent. And it was just a diamond cutter. Imagine the stuff that they do now. I was like,
Oh, I
that was
know.
so cool. That was so cool. It like for me, it was like this is real life Power Rangers. Like I might not be able to be a Power Ranger because that's fake, but this is real. And again, I know
Yeah.
I was a kid, but I was like, this is real. I can be a wrestler.
That is awesome. Yeah, man, I am a huge DDP fan. I mean, and watching him be able to hit the diamond cutter really from any position was just that was just amazing. How innovative he was with that move.
Yeah, no, he was one of my first wrestlers that I ever liked. I he hooked me onto wrestling. That I say it. If it wasn't for Diamond Dallas Page, I don't think I would have started watching wrestling. I would have probably never gotten into wrestling. Now, my favorite wrestler of all time is the one that everyone hates, Bill Goldberg. But I watch wrestling like I'm still that 10, 12-year old kid, just that young kid just watching wrestling with all his like action figures. By the way, I still watch wrestling with all my action figures. I don't care what what age I am. But
Nothing wrong with that, brother.
but my favorite wrestler was always Goldberg, but I always dedicate a shout out to Diamond Dallas Page because if it wasn't for him, I would never taken this journey because it was just something about his wrestling. He was just I don't know if majestic is the right way. It was just something about him. He made it look good. And I just,
Hmm.
it was just great. It wasn't like what it is now because I know kids would watch it now and like, oh, this is boring. Yeah, no, back then it was just the right amount of everything. It wasn't overpower. It wasn't too much gimmick. It was just right. And I got DDP when he was already a face because I saw his older heel stuff once I started getting into it. But when he was a face, he was a great face.
Oh, he
He was the
was. Yeah.
hero of WCW. Like I know it was Sting and all that, but if you really see it, he was the hero of WCW. He was the one good
Yep.
face. He was the what you would say, at least in my opinion, what you would say John Cena is to WWE now. He was the John Cena of that era.
WCW. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, being an Atlanta guy, I've got a soft spot in my heart for Goldberg, and I was actually in the Georgia Dome the night that Goldberg went over on Hogan for the WCW title, uh, and being there, to this day, I have never been present for that kind of a crowd pop when Goldberg went over on Hogan. I mean, the roar, that place came unglued. I mean, and that is one of my fondest in-person wrestling memories.
Yeah. No, I remember that. I think I was like 13, 12. But
Yeah, it was 1998. So yeah,
yeah, around that age. Yeah, no,
yeah.
there's many times let me see, there was many times where I watched wrestling as a kid that I would just start crying like and I got so invested. I was so invested into the business because I would just start crying about like the storyline. I remember when Kevin Nash gave Bill Goldberg the tase gun, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh my god! I remember just going to my room and being like, this is where life ends. And I still
Yep,
have
yep,
all my stuffies, all my wrestling buddies, all my things from back in the day. It was a great experience. I get that wrestling changed, and wrestling has changed so much ways as now you can it's delivered to more people, so it's a great thing. But um I remember how important watching it was, because back then it wasn't like, oh, well, I missed Raw tonight, I'll just watch it tomorrow, it's on Netflix. No, back then, if you missed Raw, you missed everything. You had
yep.
to watch it every single week, and I miss how important it was. Like
Oh
every
yeah,
single week was what a pay-per-view, how much value it holds on today. That was every week for us.
yeah.
So I miss that kind of wrestling.
I do too. I do too. I miss the days when it really was must see television. You know,
Yeah.
you had to see it live, or like you said, it was the end of the world. I mean,
Yeah, no, if you didn't watch it live, you missed it. And if you missed it, hopefully one of your friends recorded it on VHS.
yeah,
But most likely they didn't.
yeah. You know, it was funny during the Monday Night Wars. At the time I was working actually as a paramedic,
Mhm.
and you know, thankfully the people that I was on shift with, we were all wrestling fans. So if we were at the station, we would be watching, you know, Nitro and Raw, um, and then, you know, if we got a call and had to leave in the middle of the show, that was just the worst thing in the world. You know, I mean, I mean, I had the VCR at home set to record it all, so I was going to get to see it. But you know, catching a call in the middle of Raw or Nitro during the Monday Night Wars was just terrible. I mean, it was just awful.
I honestly having to switch and see that- the power. I don't know if people understand the power that you had when you had control over the control. And then, you know what, tonight it's a Raw night, or tonight it's a Nitro night. Like, again, for me, I grew up with Nitro. I liked Raw,
Yeah.
but I was a WCW Nitro Thunder. That was
Yep.
what we were watching. And since my
Yep.
dad was always so appreciative that I was watching wrestling with him, it was like, okay, you pick. You want Raw, you want Nitro, whatever you want, we're watching that one. And of course,
Yep.
we would switch from channel to channel, but one of them had to dominate. One of them
Oh
always
yeah.
dominated, the other one was always the filler.
Same here. I mean, I grew up, you know, with WCW, and interestingly enough, you know, because of the whole, I guess they call it Black Saturday, where McMahon tried to buy the TV slot and basically kind of forced WCW out. I always had a bad taste in my mouth for the WWF, and I intentionally did not really watch them. Really, I didn't actually really start watching WWF at all until I was in college, right around 1990. So you know, I got I remember flipping it on while I was in college, and I saw a very young Undertaker, and
Yeah.
I thought that guy's got something, you know. And
Mhm.
so I kind of started watching WWF at that point. But yeah, I had always been a WCW guy.
I
Um,
think the first storyline that really hooked me from WWE or WWF back in the day was the Undertaker Ministry of Darkness with Stephanie McMahon,
oh
and
yeah,
like taking her and Austin coming to save her, all this other stuff.
yeah,
Again, Stephanie McMahon, my biggest crush when I was younger, was like, oh, that's gonna be my wife when I grow up. Long shot, but still, that was.
Hey,
I mean, a lot of kids like Stephanie McMahon, and then Austin saving her. Like though he hated her dad, but he's saving her. I'm like, oh
yeah.
my god, this story is so great.
Well, hey, it worked out for Triple H. I
It
mean,
worked out for Triple H. Yeah, he now owns
but
everything.
yeah. So so outside of wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
Outside of wrestling, I mean, I'm a big Disney fan. I love traveling. I love going to Disney. I've been to all the Disneylands around the world. I've taken a trip around the world to just visit all of them. I I watch a lot of movies. I do a lot of Legos, a lot of just really calm, peaceful kind of stuff. For me, I'm an introvert, so I don't really enjoy going out doing stuff with a lot of like a big group of people, unless it's my group of people.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, normally I am here. I'm watching movies. Don't tell me there's a new Disney movie because I'm probably gonna go watch it. And I mean, just to be honest, next week or not, yeah, is I think it's that next week is the CCP podcast show. I believe so. It's next
Yep,
Saturday.
the
Um,
22nd. Yeah.
yeah, the 22nd. And I tried to get booked at a couple of promotions because I'm going to be there since the 18th. I had no luck. So I'm going to go to Disney World. And I'm going to
Hey,
enjoy riding some rides, eating some snacks, getting a good workout, and then just enjoying some Mickey time.
nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're mostly a wrestling related show, obviously, but we do dabble a little bit into pop culture, and I'm always looking for recommendations. So, are you watching or listening to anything cool right now? Any good TV shows, any good movies, anything that you've seen recently that you've really liked?
I gonna sound crazy. I had never watched any of the Alien movies, got into all the Alien movies, and I am
Oh,
now hooked on the Alien Earth show. I am in love with that show. I just actually recently went to go watch Predator Badlands. I always liked Predator. I never got into the Alien ones. I was like, they're too long. They're too long. Fell in love with them. I listen to a lot
hmm.
of podcasts. I listen to the No Sleep podcast, which is a bunch of scary stories that are just creator written scary stories. I'm a
Oh
big,
yeah.
big horror buff. I have dimensions in me. I go from Disney to a horror. So, but I love all the horror, anything horror that you can get me into. I love the what Hell House series. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Hell House series. Like it started just with a weird little movie, and now it's a whole big production. The Alien franchise. Uh, I can also get into. I love all the Harry Potter like movies, the books.
Hmm.
I like to read. I love all like reading is one of my biggest things. I used to be a big I have to have a book in between my hands, but recently I was gifted a Kindle, and now I'm like, this is my life because I can read all my books here and I can like enjoy them at my pace, and I can read at night in the dark. I can do anything I need to do. I got into the series called Red Rising. I don't know if you know that series, but again, sci-fi series, really, really good. Recommend reading that if you're a big sci-fi type of reader. That's a great recommendation right there.
Awesome, awesome. So, another outside of wrestling question, and that is outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
Outside of wrestling, I mean, I have a few inspirations outside of wrestling. Um, first first and foremost, it's going to be my dad, because especially 2 weeks it's going to be 3 weeks now. 3 weeks ago I lost my mom. um
I'm sorry.
and thank you so much. We lost my mom, and I saw my dad go through every single emotion in the world, and I had never seen my dad go through any emotions because my dad was a warden. Our household was, I will, like, beat you raw if you mess up. So I ended up always fearing my dad a lot, fearing my dad, because I was like, he is such a bad guy. He doesn't really care. He does. And then, like, the older I got, I started realizing, no, he loves me. And then I started realizing, oh no, he's just learning, just like we are. We all are learning how to deal with everything. He just doing the best he can. And then recently I just started seeing, like, I saw that side of him because I had to step up to be the guy that's not breaking down, the guy that is getting things done, the guy that is setting the funeral, like, expenses, everything for my father. And I started realizing my dad is such a cool guy. He is such a cool guy because he did all this for all of us for so long, and he knew that he was the bad guy. He knew that he had to basically be the heel of the family, and he took that responsibility so we could all move in the directions that we needed, so my mom could get everything for her medical bills paid, so I could get my college tuition paid, so I could do my wrestling, so I could have a home, so I could do, like, any dream that I wanted to do, I could pursue, even though it was sometimes at the expense of, well, my dad doesn't really care. No, he did. He did. It's just that when we're younger, we don't really understand, like, what's going on.
Right.
And that the more I get older, the more I appreciate, like, man, he really sacrificed for everything. That's the type of man that I want to be. Of course, there's things that you want to change in everyone, but I'm like, he is an inspiration. He did above and beyond for everyone, and now you can see it as I grow older. I see, like, people coming out, my cousins, friends, like, your dad helped us out when we didn't have anything, when we couldn't, like, eat, when we couldn't live, when we couldn't pay bills, when your dad helped us out. And I'm like, man, my dad was out there killing himself for not just us, for a community. And that motivates me so much because I mentioned it earlier. I am starting my own little wrestling school,
Hmm.
and my whole thing is I want to help our community. I want to help wrestlers. I want to help kids that are wanting to get into wrestling that maybe cannot afford it, because some of the schools down here are way, way too expensive, and talent doesn't come with a price.
Right.
Sometimes some kids have a lot of talent. They don't have the ability to pay for a school that's $2,000 a month.
Right.
And some people can say, "Hey, this is a sacrifice you have to make." Sometimes you just can't make it, even if it's a dream. And I want to provide something just like my dad provided so much for the community. I want to provide this, which I know that I can sacrifice in a part of my life to be able to provide this for the community, for our fellow wrestlers, for our youth. I just want to do something just like my dad did so much for everyone when I was younger.
That's beautiful. That is truly beautiful and truly inspiring. So, God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually yourself turned up to 11. So, tell us a bit about in-ring Caius. Tell us about the Cult of Pizza, and tell us about the Pizza Superhero, and just kind of compare and contrast your in-ring personas with everyday you.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start with the cult of Pizza. Cult of Pizza. Kaius, like I said, I have a lot of dimensions to my personal self. I can go from Disney to watching Terrifier, and I love both of them equally. So,
Yep.
Cult of Pizza is the Halloween scary, the when I get mad type of person. When I have to take care of my own, I will take care of my own. And I just turn it up. What would I do in this type of situation? What is the worst possible option that I could take in this type of situation to make it worse? And I just put it out there. I just try to get all that negativity that I have in myself and put it out in an entertaining way. And then when you go to the Pizza Superhero, the super bubbly best friend, I want to take care of everyone. I want to be your friend. I want to be the good guy. I want to watch Disney movies with you, eat snacks, and be your best friend. I am that guy. I might not be that guy to everyone because it gets, again, I'm an introvert. So everyone might not get that version of me. Some people get man, that guy is a real butt. He is such a mean guy. Like, no one likes him. He does this. I don't like that. I don't like that. Because in life, someone's not gonna like you. And I have a lot of people that don't like me. And some people see the version of Caius that is, oh, he's just a bad guy. Some people see the version of Caius that is, oh my God, he's such a sweet guy. I don't know if he could be a heel because he just is too good of a dude. And it's just me just turned up whichever way I feel like it. Right now, I felt like being the heel Caius. When I get to be like with my best friends, with all my boys, with my kids here training. Oh, it's the Pizza Superhero Caius, the guy that makes random jokes, makes random like nerdy quotes. That's the guy that you get. And I just put it out there because Pizza Superhero Caius is basically me with my best friends, but now I put that circle of friendship to be with everyone else in the audience. So everyone in the audience is my friend now. Colt the Pizza guy, he's that guy that everyone sees when they don't like me. The guy that like, oh wow, he just wants to get titles, get the top spot, be the bad guy, be the one that everyone's talking about, he wants to be selfish. He only thinks of himself. And I'm like, I hear what people say, and I like to play to it at times. And I just, oh, what would I say if they were saying that to my face? Because again, in wrestling, a lot of people will say a lot of things to you, but it's never directly to your face, but we all hear it. So I'm like, I would say this, and I would react like this, and because we all have that villain in our heads, because it doesn't matter who you are,
Mhm.
we all have that villain in our heads, and sometimes we behave because we behave and we're like, I'm gonna bite my tongue and be the better guy, but they all play inside your head, and you're like, you know what, with this outlet with wrestling, I get to just be out there and say whatever I want. I
Mhm.
get to tell them like, yeah, I get to be selfish. I get to be the bad guy. I get to be the champion. I get to take this for myself because I don't care if your feelings get hurt. I also have my own things to do. So this is who I am. So Evil Caius, Cult of Caius is the guy that is, I'm doing stuff for myself. That inner voice that you quiet to not allow people to like know how bad you can get. That like inner quiet voice, that's who Caius is. And then the superhero Caius is the version of myself that I am with my friends. I just include the audience in my friends.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, what is your favorite pizza topping?
Favorite pizza topping? Mushrooms.
You like mushrooms, huh?
Yes, I love mushrooms. The extra mushrooms, I love I don't know. I love extra cheese, pepperoni, mushrooms. Favorite pizza ever. Stuffed crust. I I got some weird ones. Nah, are they my favorite? No, but that I do have some favorite like addition toppings. Like I like pickles on my pizza.
How do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
Funny you might ask. I love it, especially because I used to be in a tag team when I was Pizza Superhero,
Hmm.
and my tag team partner is Hawaiian. So our tag team name was Pineapple Pizza. And we
Nice.
both love pineapple pizza. I love pineapple on pizza. I like refreshing toppings on pizza.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, looking back, like you said, you've been in the business for right at 20 years. So, if you can remember back, tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts?
Very
Tell us
first
about the
match.
Yeah, your very first match. What was it like?
I actually remember it quite fondly because back in the day when you went to a school, or at least it's still now, I'm pretty sure it still happens now, they make you pay your dues. So paying your dues means anything from setting up the ring to cleaning the venue to doing anything they want you to do. My
Yep.
very first match, I was tasked by Killer to sell tickets in the lobby, and just I was sitting down, I was selling tickets, and then I just hear, "Elder Storkter, I'm calling you out," and I'm like, "Mm, okay," and I'm like, I don't even know what my name is, and then I see Killer, "Get your ass out there!" I'm like, I didn't know it was me, so I'm out there and I'm in the ring, and he's like, ring the bell. Let's see how good you are, kid. I'm like, what? I no calling in the back, no nothing. I guess one of the boys got sick or so. I don't even remember what happened to where this was the situation where let's send him out there and see what he can do. So I was like, okay, I got my ass beat. Like I was just a jobber. I got to sell and take it. I was so excited. I was so happy. I finished and I was like, Killer, was that okay? Was that good? I did I make you proud? Like, yeah, kid, yeah. You did really good. You did what you were told. Just next time, pay attention. If we call you to the ring, go to the ring. I'm like, I didn't know that was my name. Like I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't even know that I was gonna go out there because when you're young and young in this business, you don't just get in the ring without permission. You
No.
wait till your trainer gives you permission to get in the ring. So I was like, mid show, get in the ring. I can't just do that. So when they're
Yeah.
talking, I'm watching it, but I'm just watching, enjoying the wrestling. And I just remember him like beat red because he when he would get mad, he would get beat red. Get in there. I was like, oh, okay, damn. I get in there and I'm just in regular like street clothes. I'm like, I don't have knee pads. I don't have anything because I didn't know this was gonna be a thing. I had been training for quite a bit then. I think I had been training for almost 8 to 9 months at that time.
Hmm.
But back then, training would like I know kids now will train for 6 weeks and be in the ring like eventually, maybe sometimes even less than that. Back then, no one was getting in the ring before 2 years.
Right.
So I had been training for a couple of months, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do anything." Got beat up. I got to say I was in the ring with Killer Tim Brooks. He was proud of me. Went back to training. Had another year of training, but I had a match under my belt. My first
That's
official
awesome.
match. Can't remember it. I just know I was just like, oh, I've already had a match anyway.
Yeah. So, we've heard about the first one. Now, if you can kind of narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
Oh man, I've been a part of some really cool matches, some really crazy matches. I think it's very hard to narrow down just one because even just this year, I had really, really good matches with my best friend because now I am the evil Peaks cult leader and he's still the pineapple. And now we're going against each other and we had really, really great match 2 weeks ago. No, 4 weeks ago. We had a good match right before my mom passed away, and then after my mom had passed away, I had another match with him where he eventually took the title away from me because the whole storyline with him was he won the title for Braxo Entertainment Promotion, and I cashed in my golden briefcase, golden chair, which is basically like a briefcase, on him,
Hmm.
on my best friend. I cashed it in on him, and really turned out like, oh, we might be best friends, we might be brothers, but at the end of the day, I'm still a bad guy. So I turned on him, cashed in for the belt. He wrestled me, didn't take the belt. And then the third time he wrestled me, he took the belt. We had a brawl. We had a great, great just fight. One of my favorites this year, but one of my all time greatest, most like I'm proud of this match because of the storyline that we told. Was when I was starting to dabble in booking. Because I was dabbling in booking matches for wrestlers. I was giving opportunities to a bunch of young kids, kids that for a long time here in Texas, if you weren't one of the vets, you were not getting booked, you were not getting titles, you were not getting pushed, you were not getting anything because it was very
Right.
toxic here. If you weren't one of the vets, you weren't getting anything except for getting beat up. And I started to help someone that wanted to put on wrestling shows but didn't know what to do. So he gave me the reins, and I was like, I'm going to change everything because there's this one wrestler over here that has 14 titles in Texas, but we have all these kids that are available for every single show. Why not put a title on them and have them as our like champions? And that pissed off a lot of people here in Texas because I was like, you're changing the way of the structure. I'm like, maybe we need to. Maybe we need to give opportunity to new people. And my this match was so good. And I remember the story because it was two of my greatest friends, which is Zane Davis, Aries Alexander, which is has been on AEW multiple times, Red Davis, which has been on AEW multiple times now. But it was their first couple of matches, like fresh out of training, first couple of matches. I I put them as a tag team. They went against these big monsters, 400 pound, 500 pound guys each. The combined weight was about 1,200 pounds. They're big guys, beat them up. For about 6 months, they beat them up, and then they were gonna come up and get the final win. Right before they went to go beat them for the title, that they were gonna beat them for the titles at that show, the
Hmm.
one of the guys broke his leg. He used to be under a mask, and at the time I was way bigger. So I was like, we're not going to take this win away from you. We're not going to take this story away from you. We've been working you as they survive, they fight, they fight, they fight, they fight. They're a good tag team. They're just not as big as them. They're not as strong. They're not going to win. So I was like, just random call. I'm putting on the mask. I'm gonna be one the guy in the mask. You guys are gonna be the the small wrestlers, small young wrestlers. We went out there, we had the biggest street fight ever, and then when we were about to go up, the big guys were gonna go up again. I take the mask, showing that I was the booker, and I just screwed over the other guy, took the titles. the people went crazy because, oh, we thought that the booker didn't like him because most of the times when I put the matches, oh yeah, well, you're gonna face the Nightmares of Pain in this match that really it's a hardcore match. Well, we're young, we're small, we're tiny, we're not gonna win in a hardcore match. Oh, you're gonna do in this kind of match. And then we did the last match was a coffin match. And I ended up being the guy under the mask. And it just the exposure of taking off the mask, the exposure of like these young kids finally did it because everyone in Texas at that point knew these kids are not going to win. It's just not like if you give them this title, you are breaking the rule. You are not allowed to give them titles. They're too young. They haven't paid their dues. They're not, this is not going to happen. And when they won it, the audience just lost their marbles. It was one of the greatest stories. I still feel it. And I was so glad that I was able to do that for now. They are my best friends. One of them helps me with training. The other one is one of my closest friends. I message him every single day. Um, I feel that if it wasn't for that opportunity, of course, they would have worked hard either way. But if it wasn't for creating opportunity for young wrestlers, I don't think that wrestling would have changed here in Texas, or at least here in San Antonio, because it would have stuck with we need the veterans to always go over. And me changing the rules, and believe me, there's a lot of people, the cult of Kaius, the people that hate me, it came from then. The people hated me because I changed the way things work here in San Antonio, Texas, to where we're not doing vets anymore. We're doing the young kids. We're giving opportunity. Of course, give the vets opportunities as well, but there's a lot of young kids. There's a lot of starving kids for this business that are starving for opportunity. They're starving to get out there to do something. And I feel that that storyline, just the way it played out, even I feel so bad that because the guy that got hurt under the mask, also one of my closest friends, I was so sad. And I was like, damn, he got hurt. We could have just we're gonna open up the titles. We're gonna go ahead and end up crowning new champions anyway. We could have done that, but just the way we ended up telling the story to where I helped them and I pushed them, and since it was based on reality that I was helping them, I was pushing them. We were all working because even the Nightmares of Pain, which were the big guys, we were all in collaboration to help these young kids to tell this story because we were like, we need young blood, we need fresh ideas, we need something different. We were all working together, and when that happened to that guy and he broke his leg, we were all like, man, our hard work and just putting me out there under a mask, just it was such a beautiful story. For me, it's one of the greatest things that I've ever worked on. And I've worked with some big names. I've worked with Brian Cage. I've worked with Roxy. I've met a couple of people, Roxanne Perez. I've
Hmm.
I've seen a couple of people in this industry that have done some great things. I've worked with Keith Lee, but just that story because it came from a place of my heart, from my own creation. That was one of the greatest stories I was ever involved in.
Absolutely. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that just really speaks to you, and you just find yourself kind of gravitating back to it, and it never really gets old. Do you have such a match as a fan?
Yes, it's it's weird because I'll go through favorites and they fluctuate. Because one of my favorite matches is, of course, the Goldberg, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash match where he gets tased
Hmm.
because it was just so heartbreaking for me. But
Yeah.
then you get older, I'm like, that match between The Rock and Steve Austin. Oh my God, it was so good. They wrestled so many times, but they was so good. And then you start realizing, but then the matches with John Cena and The Rock, like the
Yep.
last match, oh my God, that's so good. But if I had to pick out of all those three, I think I would have to go with The Rock and Austin because they were two of my favorite. They were the rebellious version of me because I was getting older. Because the greatest thing about wrestling for me nowadays, everyone just watches it and they get the product that they get. But for me, I grew up with wrestling, and it was kind of like I was a kid and I was watching WCW, very PG, very kid. Then WCW tanked, and we all had to move to WWF. And when I was
Yep.
watching WWF, it started like I was already going to the 13s, 14s. I was starting to become that rebellious kid that wanted to throw the middle finger to everyone and say
Yep.
suck it and do all this other stuff. And
Yep.
WWE provided people like Austin, so I'm like, oh yeah, he's cool. And then The Rock, I was like, yeah, I can do the eyebrow thing too. I do all this other stuff, and I think since it was at the time where I was getting older, where I was getting that attitude, and it was just the perfect amount of The Rock is the cool guy. Austin is the rebellious like guy that is like, don't tell me what to do, and then just clashing and just seeing how because there were some great athletes. It wasn't just like
Mhm.
character; it was great athleticism. I think that was for me one of my favorite matches.
Gotcha. So, and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would you love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
I would love to wrestle Bill Goldberg. I don't care what he wants me to do. I would love to wrestle Bill Goldberg, and that's my famous card. But I there are some like people in the like indies that I want to wrestle, and I always thought that it would have been a cool idea to wrestle Luigi Primo because he does the pizza stuff, and I know that a lot of people compare, oh well, you do the pizza stuff too, and that's where people don't understand what I'm doing because Luigi Primo is a pizza maker. I am an imaginary character that likes pizza. And that's why when I was the pizza superhero, I could take those big bumps. I could take those, like a small kid could slam me, and it would make sense because at the end of the day, I only weighed 100 pounds. And now that I'm evil, it's that the story of Caius is a kid growing up. So when I was superhero Kaius, I was a kid wanting to be a superhero. Now I'm on my rebellious stage. So I am that kid that will tell you off because I am growing up and I don't see things in colorful colors that are sweet and enjoyable and stuff. I see things as people are trying to put me down, they're trying to hurt me, and I'm going to fight back. So that's the growth of Caius. Well, someday it'll be a good mix of both. I hope that I can get the opportunity to tell that story. But I think that a match between the pizza cult of pizza guy and the like ultra popular Luigi Primo would be such a great match to have. And I hope one day he can see that I'm not trying to take his gimmick or anything like that, and I'm trying to just work with him and be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask you, what hurts right now?
Whew.
Or should I say, what doesn't hurt?
Okay, what doesn't hurt? Head. Uh, because that's the only thing I can tuck, the neck. No, I had surgery on my knee earlier than year. In January, I was having surgery for ACL and MCL. I ended up getting that fixed. So every now and then I have tweaks. Back, that usually comes in and goes because we're all wrestlers, it hurts. Um,
Right.
but yeah, for me, it's really the only thing that is in pain is the knees every now and then. But just with the body, with wrestling, I think we all get to a point where we're just numb. Where,
Yep.
oh yeah, because I told my friend the other day, like one of my friends, she does not know anything about wrestling other than I do it, and I was like, oh. that's not supposed to feel like that. It's like, no, you're not supposed to like hurt every time that you get up. I was like, it's been so long that I thought it was just normal. I thought it was everyone had to warm up before like walking, because I'll get up and you'll see me stand for a little bit. Okay, let's go. And she's like, why do you do that? And I'm like, yeah, because if I get up and I just start going, I'm gonna fall down. Things hurt. And I was like, I get up, make sure everything's good. Let's go.
Absolutely. So, in the 20 years you've been doing this, what would you say is the worst bump you have taken?
Uh, the worst bump, which weirdly enough is not even that bad of a bump. It's just it was a horrible ring, and I didn't know that it was a horrible ring. Was the I don't know if you well, I know you know it, but my buddy, like I said, me and my buddy, my old tag team partner used to do like now are facing each other. And we've
Hmm.
done this move a couple of times at different promotions, which is the John Cena. Just shoulder tackle, throw the line, boom.
Yeah.
And I'm on that receiving end. So I take shoulder tackle, I throw the line, I take the side suplex, boom, and everything's always fine. And I've done it multiple times. And then we were at this one ring that was they told us it's an old school Texas ring. I trained at an old school Texas ring. What that means is you get a carpet and a canvas and there's no padding. That is the carpet is the padding. But I just
Yep.
completely forgot about it because we got into the match. We were just going. It was great match. It was great match. We were going hard. And then we like, okay, the spot's coming up. Shoulder tackle. Pff. Oh, Kyrie, that one hurt. Shoulder tackle. Pff. Oh my God, I'm not bumping flat anymore. It's hurting. It's hurting. Line. I go up and I just remember being in the air. This is gonna hurt so much. And I come down, boom, no give to the ring. And I was like, take it home, please. And we still had a couple minutes to go. And but that like I just remember going up so high for the spin and just coming down and being like, no movement. The ring, nothing. Because every ring will do a little bit. This was straight,
No give.
no give. And I was like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Wow. Wow.
And I've taken falls off of ladders. I've taken ladder matches. I've taken a power bomb off a ladder. I've done like I used to do when I was the Peaks of Superhero. My whole thing was I can get slammed by smaller guys. So one of the biggest spots that I would do was do the Ric Flair bump. Go up to the top,
Hmm.
have them bump me off. And
Yeah.
people would love it because, oh my God, this big guy took this big old bump. None of that ever hurt. Like it hurt, but not this bad. I remember like I took the first bump and I was like, "Ooh, my God, that one was a really bad bump." I took the second one and I remember just bumping on my side because I was like, I'm starting to hurt. The third one, I was like, all my air gone, everything gone. My whole vertebrae just popped the whole way down. I was like, "Ooh, oh," and I was like, just take it home, please. I can't do this anymore.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, knowing everything that you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Don't allow anyone to tell you who you are. Um, if you want to be a face, if you want to be funny, if you want to be heel, and this is not just like in wrestling, this is anywhere. Don't allow anyone to tell you who you are, because for a long time, and I love Killer, but it was not just Killer Tim Brooks. It was everywhere I went. I had to be a heel, and I never. It wasn't just that I didn't get to learn to be who I wanted to be. I didn't get to enjoy what I was doing because for a long time while I was wrestling, the first maybe 6 to 10 years of wrestling, I was just, well, I've sacrificed so much that I have to keep going because it has to mean something. And then once COVID hit and I got to do the fun like Kaius stuff, I got to enjoy it so much, and I got to be myself. I got to be the person that I'm with my friends, with new people. I got to meet new people because of that person that I became. And even now, as being a heel, being able to talk to people, being able to interact with people, I get some really cool opportunities, just like being on your podcast, being on the CCP podcast. And that's because I allowed myself, not just I allowed myself to just be able to be like who I wanted to be myself, be expressive, like allow people to a little bit of who I am. And that really took me far, because when I was just hiding in my own shell, not allowing, because I was told you got to be quiet and be a big monster. That wasn't who I was. I was funny.
Right.
I was funny. I was outrageous. I was like sometimes a little bit of a butt. I had to let that person out, because people want to see that. People want to interact with people that are themselves, not someone that like, yeah, well, super cool move here and that's it. Like, no, they want to know, what do you feel? What do you want to do? What are your inspirations? What are the and like I feel that in wrestling and in life in general, a lot of people hide who they want to be because they want people to see them as the cool guy. I don't care if you think the Cult of Peaks is cool. I don't care if you think the like Peaks of Caius is cool. I like it. I like being the heel villain guy. I like being the funny superhero guy. I like doing this kind of stuff. And I hope that you enjoy it as well, because that is the biggest thing. If you're not enjoying it, we get beat up all the time. It hurts all the time. Why do it if you're not enjoying it and enjoying what you're
Exactly.
putting out?
Exactly. So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. So, my previous guest was actually a wrestler that is based over in England, in the UK. And the question that he posed is, has there been a moment during your time as a wrestler that made you think that you didn't want to do this anymore? And if you've had a moment like that, what brought you back?
Actually, it was earlier this year. And I've had a really tough year, because I've had a really tough year. I lost my mom, I got injured, I tore the ACL. Right before I tore my ACL, I lost my dog. So I lost my dog in October. I tore my ACL in late October. I was out for all these months. And then this October, I lost my mother. Had a really tough year. However, when I was going to have surgery for the ACL, I was thinking, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's too much. Like, I don't think I want to have surgery, because I don't think I want to come back to wrestling, and I'm scared of having surgery. I'm scared of wrestling. I'm scared. Like, I got hurt because I was hurt. I Someone took liberties and I got hurt. And I was like, I don't know if that is something that I want to come back to. Like, I've always thought of this as a second family, and then that kind of just left a big bad taste in my mouth. And then I had a conversation with one of my kids, one of my trainees that I help in this business, and I could see how sad it was for them, that I was telling them, like, I I think I'm done. I don't think I'm coming back. I don't think I want to do this. I don't think I love this anymore. Like, I could just save my money that I waste on gear, on training, on all this, and put it against going to Disney, trying to be happy outside of this business, because it's gotten so bad. And I could see the sadness, and then I could see the sadness in my friends. I could see the sadness in everyone that I've helped in this business. And I was like, they might just be sad because I'm not their friend is leaving, but I mean something. And it might be a small something, but I mean something to these people. I mean something to my best friend. I mean something to the kids that I help train. I can't just disappear. I can't just be like, curtain call, I'm out. I hope you guys have a great career. Even if I could not wrestle anymore, I would have returned it in some way. Right now, I'm the booker for Heathens Entertainment. I have run my own school. I'm doing things to help our community, our wrestling community. And that's, I had to, because I saw the pain in the people that I was going to leave behind, and I could not do that to them.
Got you. Got you. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to ask the next guest?
Yeah, definitely. Have you ever had a injury, and what have you done to overcome it and come back to wrestling?
That is actually a really good question.
Thank you.
So we're pretty much at the end of things now. So do you, I mean, obviously you've got the show coming up on the 22nd,
Yeah.
Chris Page's Genesis in Castleberry, Florida. And
Mhm.
you are actually taking on the Mad Hatter, Rafael Delgado.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any words for Mr. Delgado?
I'm hoping that you are ready for Texas strength, because not just the Cult of Pizza, Texas, APW, Heathens Entertainment, every single promotion here in Texas is sending all their strength through me, and we are gonna go and make a great show with Mr. Delgado. We're gonna make a great show with Chris Page. Everyone's excited to see Texas represented in Florida.
Absolutely. So, besides that show, do you have any other upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Yes, we have a show on November 16th, which is this coming Sunday, I believe. And
Hmm.
we are going to be having Heathens Entertainment in Victoria, Texas. I am the booker, the evil EVP of Heathens Entertainment. I have just taken control over the whole promotion, and I am running crazy on there. So if you want to see the new storyline, see what I do with all these wrestlers and how I throw my power around and take over, come on down to Victoria. It's a family owned promotion. We keep it very PG, but we are very excited to have everyone there. Our tickets are $5, so it's a steal. You guys can come down. You can see me. You can see some talent, like my best friend that is actually outside training in the ring right now. You can see him, which he has been on AEW 3 times now. Aries Alexander will be wrestling. My best friend and tag team partner will join the Cult of Pizza at this show. So you're gonna see the reunion of both Pineapple Pizza, but now it's gonna be called Primal Slice Pizza. Hopefully, anyone and everyone that's listening to this podcast can join us and enjoy the show.
Absolutely. And as far as what we've got coming up here on the Throwdown, this Wednesday, the 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 173. And our guest Wednesday night is going to be a Minnesota based wrestler, Elijah Harris Dixon. And he is actually the son of previous guest El Payaso Enigmatico. And then next Monday, the 17th, at 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 174, and our guest is a California based pro wrestler, the Key Factor, Keyshawn Calloway. Um, we've got a whole bunch more episodes booked. So definitely keep an eye on my socials because some really cool stuff is coming. We are pretty much fully booked up until about the middle of December at this point. So we're about 6 weeks out. And like I said, some really cool things are coming. So definitely keep an eye on my socials for upcoming announcements. And I want to thank you for your time, Kaius. This has been amazing. And you really have a good heart, and I'm very pleased to have had you on the show and to call you a friend.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be your friend, and I'm very happy to be on your show. This is a great time.
So before we wrap this up, do you have any final words for the audience?
Yeah, much like I said before, be who you want to be happy, enjoy your life, and don't worry about who doesn't enjoy it with you. Enjoy the ones that are there for you and enjoy your life with them.
Absolutely. So until Wednesday night at 7 with Elijah Harris Dixon, be good to each other, love each other.